Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is Genetics Art and Design and I'm Jenny. Today's video is going to be pretty cool. My husband had just shaved his head. As you saw in the video, it was big, beautiful, blank, ready to be painted, and I'd just gotten in the mail some Mehron Metallic Powders. So I decided, what a better day than today, especially because we all have bronchitis, to paint on the back of his head. So that's what we did. Without further ado, let's get into that time lapse and, more importantly, the voiceover. I have used Mehron in the past, but I'd never used it on someone other than myself, so I was vaguely familiar with its abilities, how transparent it was, and the general tones I needed to put under it. I had not used it on someone else, so my husband got to be the guinea pig. As a first step, I decided to take a NYX eyeliner pencil in white to sketch out my design. And then I used a black pencil. I think this one was by Wet n Wild, and this one seriously is from when I was in high school, so like 20 years old. But it does the job. Looking back on what I was doing, my plan was to sketch everything in and then fill in some areas with black, paint the Mehron over top of those black areas, fill in some more black, paint the Mehron on those areas, and then I wouldn't lose my sketch. What I really needed to do was take the whole face shape, paint it black, and then go in with the white and fill in all these details, and that's how I should have sketched it out, and then painted it with the Mehron. This ended up taking me 3 hours of painting, and it could have taken me a whole lot less time if I hadn't done this multi-step process. So next time, I definitely know, start with the base color and then go from there. Now, the reason I chose black is twofold. Reason number one is I wanted the metallics to have a little bit of a grungy look, and placing the black underneath of them would dull them down. Depending on what color you put underneath of a metallic, and this goes in model painting as well, will reflect what undertones that metallic is going to pull through. Metallic powders, especially the Mehron powders, are ground really fine, but they still are just particles suspended in a solution, and so the black is still going to shine through that metallic. If I had put something like a red or a green underneath of it, those tones would also pull through the metallics as well. Metallics also pop really well on a black base. Now, right here, let me introduce you to my skeleton hand. I realized that as my hand was resting on my husband's face, it was pulling up the black, and then I was beginning to smear it everywhere. So I needed an old calligraphy trick, which is to use a stick to rest your hand on. So that's what I'm doing. Could I have chosen something else? Yes, however, this happened to be sitting on my desk, so that's what I ended up using. And now I'm going to have to use it in all my future videos, so there's that. Back to my point about the black. The black outline also allowed me to create an outline without having to go back in and create an outline around each piece. So if I just don't paint to the very edge of that black, I've got a black outline. Now, this kind of becomes redundant when I go back in and paint with the black, because I could add a black background at that point too. Which again brings me to the first point I was making, that I should probably not have done it this way, but oh well, we trudge along. Now at this point it's staring at this head in the screen. You'll notice it's not exactly symmetrical at this time, and that's because where my camera was, I couldn't stand directly behind my husband to paint. I had to stand to the left or the right. And so that jaw line is a little cattywampus at the moment, but don't worry, I fixed that. If your OCD is going like crazy, chill. It'll be fixed. Now, there are some of these fine details that I'm adding in, and I'm like, this is dumb. I just need to wait to do these later. After I add in more black, I can come back with a finer tipped paintbrush and add back in some black over top of the metallic. So this isn't like a, oh my god, I've screwed this up forever. If I make a mistake, it's pretty darn easy to fix it because I don't have any base foundation underneath of this makeup. At this point, there's not too much more to talk about until the next step, so let's just listen to this nice music for a little bit. Okay, look, I fixed the jawline. Everything is much better now. Filling in large areas of black is pretty boring to watch even at 15 times normal speed, but we still have some nice music to listen to until the next point. Okay, so you can see me painstakingly putting in teeth to this gear only to realize that's dumb. There we go. And I'm just gonna fill in the whole area with black. This is when my brain started realizing that maybe I should have done the whole face as black and then did the details, but whatever. We're just gonna keep rolling with it. Time jump. Okay, there was no reason for you to sit through watching me painstakingly paint in all these areas with black. So now I'm going in and with a small, flat, rectangular paintbrush painting in each one of those gears. I guess I could have said earlier that the medium I'm mixing the Mehron Metallics into is not water, but the Mehron mixing solution. Ooh, now, it was a flash, but you just saw me do something really cool. Let me pause and back up. While the metallic paint on the orbital bone and the forehead were still a little wet, they were still moist, I took a dry brush and dipped it directly into the dry Mehron gold powder, and then I used it to highlight those areas. And in this way the powder was able to stick to that base coat and give it just this awesome amount of luster. And I was like, okay, this is working really, really well. I was using it a lot like I would a highlighter for the rest of my makeup on a normal day. All the fine details in this piece were done with the copper colored metallic powder. The highlights, as I just said, were the gold, and the base metal that is the majority of the large areas of the black that I'm filling in is the bronze metallic powder. The bronze is just a little bit darker than the copper, and as I'm applying it, it is reactivating the black water-based face paint underneath, which is also by Mehron, by the way. And so those two mixed together, and then again, while they were still just a little moist, I would take the gold and put it over the top. And I hadn't seen anyone that I'd watched online do that before, and it was kind of an experiment to see how well that would work. And I'm really, really happy with how the final version came out. Now, at this point, my husband's butt is tired. He has been working on his work from home for almost 3 hours. He's done. Our son, who is almost 3 years old, is done having mom and dad both occupied at the same time. And so I am rushing to get this done before everybody melts down and this whole experiment comes to a crashing halt. So you're going to see me standing in front of the camera a whole lot more through these next few clips because I am flying. But we are almost there. Oh, this is when I made a fatal error. I tried to take some white Mehron face paint in the same type as the black, the Paradise Makeup AQ, I think is how it's listed on the product, and oh, it was bad. It turned ashy and muddy, and I was freaking out. My husband's like, breathe, breathe. You could see he kept turning and looking at me like, don't freak out. Luckily, I was able to take some of the gold and pat it right over the top, and you really can't tell that I made a horrible mistake. So I'm just going in and adding a few white highlights here and there. You can see my son is all over the place. We're all over the place. We are ready to be done. I also discovered that once the white paint had dried, if I went back in with the paintbrush I was using with the metallics, I could blend the two together and soften that white without turning it into this muddy mess. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I'll see you at the close-ups. That's it. If you enjoyed what you saw today and you want to see more creative content in the future, especially steampunk themed creative projects, then hit that subscribe button. And if you liked what you saw today, don't forget to hit that like button. Everything to trick the system into being in my favor. I don't know. There's supposed to be something catchy I say here to try to beg and plead you to get your love and affection, but you know what to do. So, until next time, I'll see you later. Oh, wait, that's Jazza. I'm gonna have to come back with a better outro next video.